Okay, so here in this video, I'm going to be showing some of the combinations on this combination lock so you can unlock some of the stories. Okay, I usually show you how to balance the wheel. You need to know there's begin and end in every single point, every single bar here with the dot at the center, and then these dashes. These dashes are all the finish line, friend. They're the finish line, and they're also the starting line. Okay? So they kind of pass the baton to each other, these constellations, as the sun passes through their house. This is how the story is lit up in a sense. Okay. So I'm just going to show you some of the combinations for some of the stories and how the wheel can be read. And I'm just going to use my finger and scroll. Yeah, and I want to add, this is the scroll, friend. This is the scroll because it is also the spiral. Okay, it's like that wheel. You know that one that they used to hypnotize people that would like go in and out with the white and the black? Where do you think they got that idea? Think it came from this? This is like that serpent, right? Because it's the serpent's story. It has little Mowgli up there in that tree. It's like, trust in me, just in me. See that? That's where they got the idea for that spinning wheel. This is also the spinning wheel that Sleeping Beauty pricks her finger on. The Sleeping Beauty, the one on ice, they prick their finger on that, and this like kickstarts or jump starts their memory. This, because it's built into the game. Everything that's built into the game is built from this blueprint, friend. This is the onion. It has the layers. It's the micro macro story. Over and over and over. Okay. So yeah, this is the glass onion, just like the square. The cube is like a version of this, just in a square format, because you must circle the square. Then you will see the true head of the story. This is the head of the wheel. It shows the head of the year, and there's several heads to this grand serpent, friend. This is the one. This is the serpent that Hercules tried to like cut its head off, and it just kept growing back. This is that right here. This is where that story comes from. So all the old stories are told from this story blueprint. This is the grand map. This is the grand hero's journey. So let me turn this around and I'll show you some of the stories. Okay, so here I have the wheel. Let me get some better lighting. Okay, so here I have the wheel and I've just thrown it down. Okay, and I'm going to show you just some of the stories. This is a begin right here. The story begins here in the waters for the fish, the two fish. Okay, and then the two fish, they rise up into the air. Okay, they go up in the waters. Then they meet the one. Okay, the fish, these are also the fish here. These are also the fish here. Okay, because it's two. The fishes are two, just like there's two fishes here for the two waters. This is the story of the sperm and the egg, though, as the two fishes, male and female. It goes this way. Okay, and then there's another story. It goes this way. Yeah, and this one is for the unicorn. This story is for the unicorn that comes by the waters, okay, and then it goes up. It has an issue with the hunter. Wait, no, the unicorn starts here. This is where the unicorn starts, by the waters, and then it rises to the top of the wheel, okay, and then it's captured by the hunter, okay, and here's the woman. Here's the virgin that tricked the unicorn, and then the unicorn ends up going back into the forest or back to the waters. The unicorn makes the waters clean from the serpent's venom. That's why the unicorn is here. Okay. There's another story that starts here, and it just goes all the way around. Okay, and then you have your stories that go like this. One goes this way, and then one goes this way, and they're at the same time, and they meet at the top. right there. Okay, and this connection is what amplifies the top, because this connection here is between the sun and the waters for the grand portal. Okay. Okay, and this is the story of man and his growth. Okay, this whole tapestry is talking about man and his journey as the hero to become the god. Look at the story of Hercules. Hercules fell from heaven, okay, and then he had to go through steps to once again become a true hero on the hero's journey. This is what I just showed you with this story. Okay, two separate men here, one on the left, one on the right. Okay, and then this is the Grand Cross right here. The serpent with all the heads that Hercules battles is right here, just like the little goat man. The little goat man is always Capricorn. Yeah, the goat man's always Capricorn, just so you know, because this is the goat fish. This is also the alligator for Thoth, just so you know. Likewise, the whole wheel is the alligator or the snake. This is why you're in the belly of the snake, in a sense, also in the wheelhouse. Okay, and then you birth from the snake when you shed skin, in a sense. Okay. So, but this whole story too, you need to know, because the earth is at center. It's all about the progress of earth as the son of man who progresses. And then likewise, man as earth, who was made from the earth, also progresses in the ages and stages upon the wheel. Okay, this is where the man is right here. This is where the great fall was. This is during the time of the flood up here. Okay. And then this is like Moses, this is Jesus, and then you have the two fish story here, and then you have the waters of life. Now, this is the story in the image of the man, because the gods are seen in this time. This is the age of man here, these years, because he's technically been put on ice, and then he must remember, and he must put the pieces back together and make it to the waters of life. And keep in mind, these waters of life are within, friend. And he becomes the grand unicorn. This is the story of man. This is also the story of him coming back to the golden age. This is the story of the progression of humans being put on ice, in a sense, and then going through the grand thaw. Okay, and then when they go into the grand thaw, they become the gods, because they meet the gods at the gate. And this is the gate right here, Aquarius. Okay, and then the gods give them free passage to enter into the promised land. And then they find the golden year here. So in a sense, man grows as a man, as a babe, right? And he progresses, and then he becomes the gods on the wheel. Okay, and then the rest of the story is for the gods. But keep in mind, this is a grand cycle, friend. This is a grand cycle with many, many, many thousands and thousands of years of history. Okay, this is 2,000 years, each one. 2,000 years. 2,000 years. And each sign is divided into 3, because each main character has 3 companions, or 3 supporting characters that come into play in their house as they play the main character. Okay, so this would be the first part would not be fixed fire. The middle part of each sign is the fixed fire. So as you come into this age, you're not completely into the fixed fire yet, okay, because there's still a residual left over from when you come in with the waves. These are the waves also. Okay, these are the waves. See how I do this? Watch. Then it pulls back, and then it goes. And then it pulls back, and then it goes. Then it pulls back, and it goes like the rhythm of a drum. Okay, in the waters and the waves. Yes. Once we get in a fixed fire, we're going to be completely in alignment with Leo.